Just a little disclaimer before I start this video, I did back this game on Kickstarter, and I am in the game as a sprite in the credits. I've had access to the closed beta ever since the Kickstarter ended. I just wanted to let people know that so any biases are cleared up. Anyway, Petal Crash. Petal Crash comes from the mind of Ashley Jenkins, who previously made 2018's Grapple Force Arena. It was announced last year and crowdfunded on Kickstarter, raising $15,000, and is currently on PC, PS4, and Switch, with iOS and Android versions coming later. It's an arcade puzzle game inspired by older arcade games from Taito, and it can either be played as a slow-paced puzzle solver or a fast-paced competitive tug-of-war game that focuses on setting up combos. In Petal Crash, the game gives you an 8x8 grid in which you'll be moving multicolored blocks in one of 4 directions: up, down, left, and right, so that you can match blocks with each other. When you match a pair of blocks of the same color together, they will blast the adjacent blocks away. Eagle-eyed players can use this to their advantage, as blocks knocked away can be piled onto matching blocks, creating huge combos. As the game goes on, more blocks will appear on the screen, represented by shadow blocks. And you can use the fast forward button to speed up the blocks so you can use them faster. The game also gives you a multitude of control options, letting you play the way you want to play, be it slow and methodical or fast and frantic. Personally, I use the 4-button option as it allows me to use the D-pad and face buttons to immediately launch the pedals in the direction I want, letting me quickly build up combos. It keeps me actively engaged so I don't have to stop and select the direction the block goes in. Regardless of your preferred control scheme, Petal Crash has a multitude of game modes to choose from. Single player has story mode, time, and turn trial. In story mode, you'll take one of the cast through a series of stages in order to collect the 7 sacred blossoms so they can have what their heart desires. My favorite character was Yasodi, who wants to put on a performance that everyone will remember, but I also liked Lilibri the Librarian, who seeks knowledge, and Strelitz, who wants to have the power to rule over hell, despite being a little child. You'll fight each character on the roster, and the dialogue between battles isn't just pretty funny, but it also helps to develop the characters. But at the end of each story, something unexpected happens. Most games where the plot is about characters fighting to get their wish granted usually have some sort of monkey's paw stipulation, or they just simply get their wish granted, no questions asked. Petal Crash instead grants their wishes by them realizing what they truly desired was what they had all along. I really enjoy the lighthearted direction the writer took for the story, and it's more memorable to me for that reason. On a side note, I would also like to praise the handling of the game's LGBT characters. It's treated as a norm in the world of the game, and it isn't the focus. For example, Yasodi comes from a lineage of centaurs who are entertainers and dancers for the kingdom. The genders of the previous Yasodi vary, and Yasodi identifies as agender. It's not shoved in your face and alluded to non-stop, but rather, it's just shown in the character select screen. And that's not even to mention Strelitz's adorable gay moms. This is how you do LGBT representation. Most games like to shove in the player's face that they have diversity as a selling point, but if you genuinely care about diversity, then make it a norm. In time and turn trial mode, you'll be aiming for the fastest time or trying to beat the puzzles with the fewest moves possible without worrying about an opponent. Perfect for those looking for a quick arcade fix. Puzzle mode lets you select a character and complete their own puzzles with a limited amount of moves. You can also create your own puzzles in the puzzle editor and share them with other players. Once created, the puzzles can be shared using a code so that others can have a go at trying to solve your puzzles. The codes will be compatible with console versions of the game in an upcoming patch. The editor is simple to understand, and even in the limited 8x8 space, the possibilities are endless. Now here's one example. You can even kill Lethal Gear like I did. Versus mode puts you up against either a friend or computer, and this is where the game truly shines. In this mode, matching blocks and building huge chains will send hard blocks over to your opponent, turning the game into a competitive tug of war. The more matches and combos you make, the harder it will be for your opponent and vice versa. Win 3 rounds of this by chaining combos while being on the offensive, and the game is yours. Alternatively, if their entire screen is filled with blocks so that they can't move, they'll get overgrown and lose the match. The game is so much fun in local competitive play, so if you have friends, family members, or roommates that you can reasonably play with at the moment, then you should give it a shot with them. As you can tell, the game looks absolutely charming, and this is what Ashley excels at. She perfectly nailed the Game Boy era feel of this game. The pixel art isn't trying to emulate retro gaming, it keeps the limitations of that era in mind, and it results in a game that looks and feels like it came from that era. Lastly, there's a few secrets to unlock, like extra characters and difficulties to keep you coming back for more. If you're familiar with Ashley's previous game, Grapple Force Arena, you might want to pay attention to the hints the game gives you at the end of story mode. And by holding down the palette select button of certain characters in Versus mode, you can select secret characters. Like him. Can you feel the storm? It's coming. Overall, the game is an adorable, addicting, and charming action puzzler with cute art. My only gripe is that there's no online component. I wish there was some sort of online component to the game, especially when it's coming out in the current state of the world, but most likely Parsec can do the trick. Honestly, all of this for $10? I'd say it's well worth it to pick up Petal Crash. So go find some friends and have a Petal Crash.